just have you twice maybe. Like it's not that.
No, I'm not. Just stay on this without your camera. It'll be all right. We'll survive. How do I?
Maybe just get rid of the voice one, and then do the one that.
No, but it's not let me join with the video. The video
Anymore.
it just like keeps kicking it out.
Oh. Whose phone is dead? Charging.
Luke's.
I'm trying to set Josh Hayes.
Luke, he's not in the waiting room or anything trying to get in.
No.
Oh wait. Oh, I not yay. That works.
How do I undo that?
Oh.
What did you do?
Hi outside.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Allow parties to rename themselves. That's not what I want. I don't understand what's going on. Things with full screen. I should be live right now.
I'll check.
Live right now.
Yeah, I'm checking now too.
Alright, and I'm also gonna go live.
Shit.
Just make sure you have it all turned down.
No. Oh wait. Stop talking.
Oh, I not yay. That works.
How do I undo that?
What did you do?
Hi outside. Yeah.
Oh, there we
go. Look, you're so red.
I need to mute this.
Stop it. Just press stop on it.
No, I can't. I need to mute it. All right, hello. We are now into this Zoom meeting thing that's starting. It's very, very intriguing. Here we are. So my name is Luke. I'm the writer and director of Sing to Me. With me, I have Josh without a video. That's Josh Hayes. He worked tech behind the scenes. We have Jordan Feely, who played Sean.
Hello.
And we have Abby Beale, who was kind of like an outside spectator who just floated in and gave everybody lunch. So guys, I'm gonna preface this and just start by bringing it to everybody's attention that this time 1 year ago, 1 year and 1 month ago, we wrapped film production on Sing to Me. So that's mad to think about.
Yeah.
And given the nature of what's going on as well, I also just want, on behalf of everybody in the Sing to Me team, anybody involved with Spellshot Studios and any productions going forward, I want to give our best wishes to everybody. Anybody who's after losing their job or losing a loved one, God forbid, it's a really horrible time. So our sympathies, our condolences, and everybody is in this together, and we're all here. Anything you want to add there, Jordan?
No, absolutely. The only way we're going to get through is together.
Mm-hmm.
Having together is makes everyone motivated, keeps everyone's spirits high. You have to be there for each other, especially now, always and especially now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to quickly double check that all of our settings are in place and everything is looking good. Yeah, we're all good. Okay. Right. I'm going to move along and we're going to start looking at some questions. So we have a lot of questions that you guys have sent in, which I'm delighted with. Multiple directed to all of us, and then one or two directed at one or two people. A few of them had different parts, which is really good. You guys sent us in an abundance of really great questions. So thank you very much for that. We're going to start with. I'm going to start by addressing one very common question that just keeps coming up ever since I announced this thing, is whether or not there's going to be a sequel to this film. And that was asked to me the night that we launched. I don't know if you guys remember, but when we were walking out of the theater from the premiere, everybody was like, "Oh my god, you guys, you set it up really well for a sequel," which I didn't think we did. I thought it was open and closed, but there's that. Yeah, it's being asked here. So you got is there going to be a Sing to Me 2? Because we all want it. When will we see a Sing to Me 2? Is Sing to Me 2 going to be called Sing Digit to Me? Which I thought was creative. I thought that was clever. I always went to my head like, if we did a sequel, we call it like Encore or something,
Remember, that was in the group chat. Someone put that in the group chat. When
That's
we were filming the last one.
I think it was Airy. Was it Airy? I think it was Airy.
Yeah.
So look, there's I keep telling people, we haven't as a group, as a cast, actually discussed doing a sequel just yet. There is clearly an appetite for it, which I'm really happy, but there is no immediate plans for one yet. But I'm interested in it. And it will be interesting to look at in a few years down the line. I do feel personally that the story and the way the characters are, we would have to give it breathing room before we return to it. I think. What would you guys think?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I would love it.
Yeah, we should do one, but at the same time, we should leave some room in between the first and second. And as you said, there's 3-4 films that we're working on now anyway.
Yeah.
And that's working itself. But it'll be good to release a few films different than Sing to Me, to kind of, it's refreshing, to mix up things, and then maybe.
And then it's nearly like a reunion, it's like, oh look, we're back.
New American Pie on it.
As big as Friends, I can see Abby going, no.
The costumes,
Oh yeah, we're just going to take the time here to announce for Fatherland, Abby is the chief designer. She wants me to kind of spread that title around everywhere.
Way.
Yeah, so the next question is for Yi. So for anybody that worked behind the scenes, or you, Jordan, working as an actor, what challenges came with working with Luke and his very unique directing style? What challenges came with working with Luke?
He was very strict sometimes. he was such a perfectionist that he wanted to get everything done straight, and he didn't want to mess it up in any way possible. But I thought that was fun. We had the running meme or the running joke when we were shooting that Luke was the angry boss.
Wasn't it?
So,
Jesus Christ! I didn't know about this. Jordan, do you feel this way too?
I think towards the end it got tense, but I think that it got tense with everyone though, because we were trying to get it done, and especially we had some work to do, a month or so even before it was released. Yeah,
we
exactly.
had scheduled. We were coming up to exams in 5th year, so we were 5th year. Jordan was coming up to his leaving, and my thing was I was at risk of losing my actors, so it was we needed to, because people had the stress of exams, so it was we need to do this and get it done.
Yeah.
Abby, what was your perspective on it from your time on the outside?
I wasn't there for shooting really. I was there maybe 1 or 2 shoots, but just from being Luke's best friend and there for him for emotional reasons. There's a lot of tense mornings walking to school where he would just be going on and on and on and on about being tense and people not showing up, and then, oh my god, this actor didn't come, and then this scene it didn't work. We have to do it all again. So yeah, no, it was really would do it again the exact same way.
Well, you're involved now. We've roped you in to our little.
I think one that I remember though is the final scene when we're up at the rocks. It took so many chances to film because I kept messing up. And
so did I.
Yeah, but there was always one word or something. It took so long, but I guess
Yeah.
I think
it was a good scene though.
There was a part of that as well, though. I think because we were very aware that was the last day. That.
Yeah.
And we had shot a a test shoot of that scene way back in
very early the first day, I think.
Yeah, it was like
we were running to drama, weren't we?
Yeah,
like we were like
That's right. Yeah, and it was like it was before Christmas, like, and the year before, and I remember when we shot that, it was just as a test shoot, and I decided we'd go back. I actually used some footage from that shoot in the film. So when your arm at the very end of the film, when your arm comes through the shot and Sebastian turns around, that was from the first day that we ever shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then the conversation was from the last day shooting. But I did actually use some of the footage. Yeah.
Because we had to do identical though. That was also a challenge, I think.
Yeah.
We always had to wear the same clothes. So like we were in Tesco and like we'd have to go to the Tesco bathrooms and change because like the scene we done was the day before in film.
Like a spot change. Everybody's running up and down. It's like, I'll watch the equipment. It's okay.
And it was a lot to carry as well, like, to and fro. That was a challenge. That's why it took so long, I think, was getting to and fro locations.
Yeah, that last day, getting from Tesco to the Rocks with like the cameras slinged on our back and everything, trying to drag everything.
And it's not cheap either, it's not our equipment. It's
but it is now, but it wasn't then.
At the time.
Yeah.
Hey, we got equipment now. Yay.
That's what it's for. It's not for the air.
But it was mad. We had I'm just gonna fix that. We had so much, like my thing was, I remember the night because we had 3 final shoots that I had set up, and I remember I put up an Instagram post saying I was working late and stuff, and I was like tweaking the script and I was setting in place like what we were going to shoot when, what day, how it was going to go. And we set up those last 3 shoots, and then I put it into the group chat for everybody saying, this is the schedule for the next 3 shoots, and that was grand. And when we got to the last 2 days, a few people mixed up the days. So we ended up with less actors on the day we needed all our actors, and we ended up with like all of our actors on the day we needed less actors, and it was like, this is not too much. And I had a bit of a panic, but we just rearranged. It was all right in the end.
And then there was
what?
Then there was the reshoot and the adding.
Oh yeah, Abby really wants to tell this story. I know.
So I don't know if you like made it known, but there was a day of filming towards the end of the summer. I showed up that day, and it was some good stuff. Jordan was there, Josh. We were all there, and the actors were doing their thing. I just kind of tagged along, and Luke's dad was giving me the tome afterwards, so it was grand. So we were across the bridge shooting, were we?
You were with Alan, weren't you? Did Alan come down as well? Yeah, I remember that day.
Yeah, we were across the bridge, and Nick had given Luke the SD card of all the footage so he could edit it. So me and Luke said goodbye to everyone, and we went and sat on like the rocks by the riverbank. That was grand. And then Luke's dad showed up and got in the car, and it was great, Dad. Yeah, no, it was really good day of shooting. We got some really great stuff. And then you see Luke checking his pockets.
Oh my god!
You see the color drain from his face. And he turns around to me.
SD card.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was rough.
Is that still there?
It's
just it'll save us time for the sequel.
You were aware that those scenes were like set midway through the film to set up more characters?
No, I know.
No, I don't think so. I'm just realizing now that the video is not playing. So we're having a bit of technical difficulties. I apologize for this, but the video.
If it's recording though, we can just upload it on YouTube later on. Like it doesn't have to be live.
I have the chat now is coming through, but it's transition. That's why. Oh, there we go. Okay, I figured it out. It's okay.
Just the thing I told you right before we start streaming.
Yeah.
Make sure you click.
Apologies, you've been able to hear our voices, but you have not been able to see our faces. This is our faces. So just once again, I'm Luke, writer and director, played Sebastian. That's Josh, he's not here. That's Abby up in the top left, and then we've got Jordan here. That's provided you can even see us, which you can over now. I apologize for that. Okay, so we'll move on ahead anyway with some more questions, and we will come to any questions that you guys ask in the comments later, but we'll try and fly through what we have from the other stuff now. So if you each had to have picked one thing, if each of you had to pick one thing that you would have done differently while shooting, what would it be? For me, as the director, I would have scheduled it better. So I think and it's something that I've been talking to Abby about. I've set up already a plan for Fatherland that will actually allow us to get the film completely shot in 1 month, all going well. Less even. That's something I didn't do with Sing to Me. And I also announced a release date before we had even gotten halfway through shooting, which was I did that as incentive because I had never done it before. So I thought if I announced a release date, we would fly through the work, and that's not what happened. So yeah, that's what I would do differently. What about you guys?
I think like the mistakes that we did make, like I could go back and think, well, I would have learned this scene better, or I would have learned kind of the how this scene was set up, but the mistakes we made though, the kind of we learned from them. It was our first time filming.
Yeah.
You know, we can't really say, oh, we should have known this or we should have known that.
Absolutely.
We learned, you know, and we'll know for the next film the thing. So like this live, for example, you'll know next time to put on the video. You know, things like that.
I'll know next time not to lose the SD card, would it?
Yeah, maybe.
So that's one thing. Okay, that's one thing that I would say I would do differently is as a group not lose SD cards.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think like maybe not take out the SD card. Maybe just keep the SD card in it because it was our last shoot.
Then I would have had to have taken Nix's camera. That wasn't going to go well.
Oh yeah, it's from Nix's camera.
Yeah.
Oh.
The next question is regarding a spider that was in my bedroom. We're not going to.
Oh, I seen that. That shit looks scary as fuck.
Frightening. I'm not sure.
I missed it.
It literally says, "So how was the spider? Did you pet it?" No, I killed it. Well, no, I didn't actually. I got my mother to get it out of the room.
Oh.
I'm a big brave director. Shut up.
You're a big boy now.
I'm a big boy now. So again, is there going to be a Sing to Me 2? Is there going to be Sing to Me 2? Is it going to be called Sing to Me? Look, like I said, we haven't any immediate plans, but it is an option. It is something that we're looking at. This is interesting actually. This is Jordan for me, you and Nick's the day that we did it. Why did you add hot water and foam for the drinking scene instead of getting actual tea or coffee? And this was interesting because we did our days of shooting were long, so we would shoot from generally noon, 1 o'clock, and people would kind of show up between 12 and 1, and we'd get things set up, and then you'd be shooting until 5 or 6. Usually about 5 o'clock, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the day that we did that was actually later on. We had already finished shooting, and I had written an extra scene to change the dynamic of the film, to add a beginning and an end that was aside from the film. That was a flashback.
They gave it a narrative structure, kind of.
Exactly, yeah, and it made it a bit longer as well, so we were able to make it a feature. But we did it that way. But that scene had us drinking tea. But like we were shooting, we got there at 12. Jordan was there probably at about 12:30, and me and Nick did a bit of scene setting shots, and then we went on and we were shooting from about 1 o'clock, I'd say, until maybe I think me and Nick were going till 7. Easily, like, so that the reason we had that tea fake tea coffee thing was because I didn't want to keep paying for tea and coffee. It was like
and just got it got cold as well though. Like if you're thirsty, if you're desperately thirsty,
you would know that because you drank it.
Yeah, but I went there with Shane that day, and you were already there with Nick's, and the hot water and the foam was already there, so I thought it was cappuccino.
Oh yeah. I probably should have.
I gotta say,
I should have.
The coffee out of that place is like amazing as well.
Shout out to Santos.
Yeah, Santos is so nice.
Yeah, it's
thanks
great.
for letting us film there too.
And yeah, they're really sound guys in there too.
Yeah, and I'll actually just big him up there for a minute. If anybody who's in Wexford or anybody who travels to Wexford, that's provided I have anybody watching this that's not from Wexford, please check out Santos, because he was really amazing for letting us work that, and it was really, really great. We have Nick's joining now in 1 second, so
Nick's, just right there.
Nix was away, but Nix is our co-director, and he was the chief filmographer. So he worked the cameras mostly, because I had very little experience working with the camera side of things. So it was seriously invaluable to have.
And his camera was great as well. His camera was really good. Brilliant. We had some very good shoots, I think, posters and stuff. They all came from Nix's camera.
Yeah,
it helped us immensely.
All of it. Yeah, all of the posters were Nix's. Yeah.
One thing actually, though, I think that I would do different for the film is, like, I understand how the equipment was a bit of an issue at the time, but used kind of the same camera all the way through. And I've heard some people in some instances say that Nick's camera was in some scenes better quality than the professional one, and I could completely see why. But maybe in the future films areas, we can kind of.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Nick Ziemnas. He was the co-director and the chief filmographer for Sing to Me. So, Nick's give a hello after he connects his audio.
Hey, Nick's.
Are we connected? Is it connected? It's just this long silent moment, is it?
Yeah. So, as that's going on, we have a question on your live stream. Okay. It says, did you make any big changes to the script during or just before the production?
Yes, I did.
Definitely.
So it was weird, right? Because the way that we approached the script was a little bit different than you're probably typically used to. I had written out. I went through 7 variations of the script, and that's been. I've brought that up a few times because I started writing in 2017. And the film didn't come out until 2019. So will give you an idea for how long it took me to write the film. It wasn't the first time I'd ever done it. And we went through several variations of the script, but when we got to what would become the final version of the script and we got on, the idea was to try and make it as casual as possible, as fluid as possible, because this is, at the end of the day, a group of teenagers that are hanging out, and one of them has a social anxiety problem, and that's what the story is. That's what Sing to Me is. So a lot of my actors did, like Jordan, for example, what he would do is he would read a script and interpret his lines. So rather than deliver to me exactly what was written on the page, which could come across as stale depending on how you read it, he put it into his own words. So the script was never set in stone, and that's the way I like to approach the script anyways. If you want to read the script that way, do it. But if you want to do it the way Jordan did it, then go with it that way. So that's the approach I try to take.
I think like the reasoning like for that as well, if people are wondering, I think because when reading a script, there's so many different interpretations of reading something. So many people have different ideas of what something means, what something should mean. And I think a good script is one that's adaptable, one that the actor, a way to kind of get involved with the character more is to make them you for a while. Yeah. And the way to do that is kind of to make the lines more natural. And my way of doing that was kind of, changing it around, but not too much, keeping to the story and staying with the script, but making them more natural, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But as for changes, I did make some changes. I wrote that's actually what I was saying for that last bit, was that the scenes that you see set 3 years in the future were written on the fly. So we did actually there's 2. We shot those scenes. So I wrote those scenes after we had finished shooting. And went ahead and did that, so that way we would have a different dynamic to how the story was told, especially because we lost footage that and then we were late. There was a few actors late to shooting one day, and it was me, Jordan, and Airy on set, and we were in Tesco, and I wanted to get in some shooting. And I had this idea the night before for a scene with me and Airy, to give a bit more context to the scene that follows it, which is the scene where I dance with Aisling, or Lara, and I wrote that midday. Like we were there, I think it was about 12:30. I wrote that scene on the fly. I gave it to Ari, and me and Ari learned the lines, and we went and we shot that scene. So the scene where me and Ari are giving out to each other, basically, that was written on the day. It wasn't in the script before. There was never any. Me and Ari were never going to cross paths at all, other than in the group. So
maybe you can tell them about like some of the scenes that were lost. What were they?
Yeah, we had we had a series of things. So Jordan's character Sean has a moment midway through or towards the end of the film where he comes to the group and they're all sitting outside Tesco, and he's like, Sebastian has gone off to Dublin and Lara has followed him, and I'm panicking. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to get through to him. He won't listen to me, and the scene that comes before that is a scene set in the future, and they discuss Sebastian doing the audition, panicking and leaving. But we actually shot a scene of me doing the audition, and we shot a scene of me panicking, and we shot a scene of me leaving, and we shot a whole thing around that where where Lara talks to Sean Jordan and goes off then and follows me to Dublin. So we actually shot all these scenes, but they were lost, and because they were lost, I put it into dialogue then for a separate scene. And we also shot a scene between Ari and Jordan, I think. Was it Ari that you shot with?
Yeah, that was the one by the riverbank.
That was the one by the riverbank.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, and you gave the analogy about the soldier and stuff.
That's right, and that was initially how the film was going to open. The film was going to open. It's actually, the shot is actually in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, there's a shot of me walking up to the edge of what is in real life my house. And he looks out over a field and then he crouches down, and there was going to be a monologue as that happened, as he walked over and kneels down, and what he's supposedly doing in that scene is he's looking out over where he used to live and he's thinking of that analogy, and then it comes back up for context in the film, but because we didn't have the scenes that were lost, I cut that scene out of the film. I also cut a scene with Hannah out. It's in the bloopers where Hannah kind of peeks out a window and she goes, "Am I interrupting something?" And I cut that section of a scene out of the film, so it's interesting to see what scenes were deleted. Will there be a Sing to Me 2? If so, will there be new characters introduced to it? Right, so this is slightly different. Yes, so the storyline that I'm working on for a potential sequel does involve new characters, and it involves substance abuse and things like that. So the story that we're looking at is a potential idea that will basically take Sebastian in his fame and his success, and we're going to destroy him. But it's going to be his fault. And
Jesus, man.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And then he has to crawl his way back and do it that way. So it's interesting. Now, that may not be what we go with, but that's what I'm currently working with. So yes, it will involve new characters.
News to me.
Yes.
It's a good contradiction between like the lightheartedness of Sing to Me, like the first one. If you do this, because obviously like I'm kind of behind the scenes, and we bounce the ideas off each other a fair bit.
Yeah.
So this new darker direction that Luke is going with is really interesting. Mm-hmm. So I think people will like it if there's enough push. Yeah. He might not. We don't know.
You don't want to do. We've done a story where he's socially awkward and he's afraid and he falls in love with this girl. The story's done. I don't want to do the same thing twice.
Exactly. Will characters die in the film?
I don't know if I should disclose that.
Shit.
There is a death. There is a death, and it's not a big action death. It's a very emotional death regarding an accident that Sebastian may or may not cause.
I think you told me about this once or
twice. Didn't he bring it up like on one of the last days last year?
Maybe. Very possibly. Yeah.
I think. But
I've had this idea for a while. I knew that I would want to introduce stakes that weren't in Sing to Me. And so what will happen is this character that we have will die, and it will have a very profound effect on each character, but it will have a particularly profound effect on Sebastian for a very particular reason.
But it could change, obviously.
It could change. I could kill nobody.
Exactly.
I could kill fucking everybody.
Exactly.
I can write it, and it'll be written. What movie inspired you to direct Sing to Me? What actors influenced you and the other actors the most? And for the cinematographer, did any shots from any other films inspire you the most? So for me, what inspired me to direct Sing to Me was my own life. So Sing to Me is very, very loosely based on me as a kid, because I used to be really stage fright, and I was terrified of playing in front of other people for years and years. And it was my guitar teacher just kept pushing me to do it until I did one of my school talent shows. And when I did that, it was terrifying, but I overcame it. So that was the idea. I took that concept from my life and just totally dramatized it.
Similar to the talent show.
Exactly. So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Except I didn't have a best friend. It was I had a best friend. Sorry, Josh, that sounds awful. I don't like you, Josh.
I'm not crying in the back. Don't worry about it.
Sean's character it basically correlates to my guitar teacher say, right? And of course Josh, but I'm not sure Josh knew I could play guitar at the time. But this is the thing, I didn't tell anyone. But so for the actors, so for Jordan and Josh, you were an actor previously. Was there any was there any other actors' performances from other films or whatever that influenced your portrayal, or did you make it your own, or how did that
go? When I was in it briefly, when I had the actual role as Michelle's boyfriend, John, it was more of a think about what like love scenes or what way you would feel if you were in a relationship. So that's like the way I kind of went around it. So if I was in a relationship, if I was that person, if I was John, how would I feel?
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't really inspired from any other characters, but yeah.
And Jordan,
I think for me, because it's it's a really contemporary film. It's very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired me the most was actually kind of how all the actors were acting on set. You know, all you guys, everyone acting, because it's a coming of age film set in Wexford town. It's never really been done before.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a lot of, obviously coming of age films in other countries, but in Wexford, the only thing that could properly relate, as you said, Luke, is our own lives.
Yep.
So what inspired me really was being on set every day and seeing everyone act. And everyone slowly adapt, especially like the ones who never acted before. And it was my first film. I never did it before. I've never produced or done anything like that. So it was really cool to see.
Jordan does have acting experience. He's just never acted in a movie.
In drama,
yeah,
not in a film, not in a feature film.
No,
anyway, you know what I mean. So
that was accidental, though. I always advertised it as a short film, and then I was halfway through editing, and I was like, right, we're an hour.
The Art Centre said it was a feature.
Yeah, but it was an hour long, and I was doing the IMDb list thing, and it was like, is your film a short film or a feature film? And I clicked short film, and it said short films are 45 minutes or less. Is your film a short film? And I was like, fuck, it's a feature. Great.
It was accidental.
Totally accidental.
Accidentally a feature film.
Yeah. Nix, did you have any shots or other cinematographers that inspired your approach to the shooting? Other than me going, Nix, do this.
Oh yeah, hi everybody. I just forgot to say hi. Kind of just joined late, but yeah, I was gonna ask you like, what was your favorite shot maybe, in terms of the whole movie?
What was my favorite shot?
Yeah.
Interesting. My favorite shot that you've gotten, because you shot most of our shots, I would say, is probably. Do you know in the beginning? That the opening montage of me walking through Wexford town. I think that sequence is my favorite. I love that opening. I was really happy with that, and I remember vividly doing that. I was in my dad's house, and I got up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Was editing from 8 until 8, and I only got through about 3 scenes, but I spent so long doing that. And I showed my dad, and of course I had written the music, so I put that over, and I remember just looking at it going, Nix is a god. I was like, I'm delighted with this.
The camera is so good.
Yeah, I was like, I think I texted him actually going, this is brilliant. But yeah, that'd be my favorite shot that you got, Nix, I'd say.
You're just feeling Nix's ego.
Yeah.
Nix is he's going all right.
Yeah, I thought my personal favorite shot to actually film was at Santos when the girl came up and the fans and stuff.
That was good.
And my brother as well, Shane. He had a cameo.
That's right, yeah. And he's listed.
Two girls as well.
He's not credited in the film, but he's credited on IMDb, or it's the other way around. He's either credited on IMDb and not credited in the film, or it's vice versa. But he's wherever he is credited, he's credited as the dude with the phone. That's what I refer to him as.
Spam one.
Yeah. And Belle played Lena, and my friend Sarah. Sarah and Belle are mother and daughter in real life, and
it was a good scene.
Yeah, and
it was very funny.
Sarah, because Sarah works in the smoke-free place in Tesco, so she's seen us shooting all the time. And I went over to chat to her, and she was like, "If you ever have a thing that that you need a little girl for," and I was working on a potential idea. Yeah, I was working on a potential idea for a film at the time that needed a child, so I said it to her, could I get Belle into that? And then when I wrote that scene, I was like, oh, perfect. So we got Belle in, and it was
That's very cool. That's very cool. And that's another thing though about the question we had a few minutes ago is there going to be new characters in Sing to Me too? I think it gives a good opportunity for people who kind of like to be in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
And it would be. Yeah, Sing to Me.
Oh yeah, we discussed it about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've gotten 50 questions asking if there's going to be a sequel. People seem to really want one. I just said that while there's no immediate plans, it is a possibility in the future. In a few years. Now not 10 years, but you could be looking at 4 or 5 years. Because it did take us a year to shoot this film, and it took me 2 years to get it done. So now granted, I'm learning.
Projects.
And we've got other projects. We have an animated series coming out. We have a potential live action web series. I've got 4 films that I'm currently working on, aside from those animated projects. So there's a lot. And Abby's the the creative designer. Yeah, did Tesco give you permission to film there? Not initially.
Wasn't there a bit? There was the first day there was a whole scene, wasn't there? Security guard
we shot the scene that me and Aisling dance in. We shot the beginning of that, so we didn't shoot the dancing or the part that comes after the dancing, but we shot that conversation. And I think we shot your scene, you know, where you and Hannah have your. Yeah. I think we shot that day as well.
But they were cool about it, though. They were really cool about it.
They were, yeah. We got the security guard came down. He was like, "Look, you can't film here." And I was like, "Right, okay." And I happened to know his daughter, so I had a chat with him, and he was sound to me because I knew his daughter. And then he was like,
sound anyway, though.
Yeah, he's sound anyway. But he said, "Do you want to? If you ring them and get permission from head office, we'll see what we can do." And I was like, "Grant." So I spent ages ringing. I rang Tesco head office, and then head office has a head office. So I had to ring the head office, and then the head office sent me back to head office, and then they sent me back to the other head office, and then that head office sent me back to Wexford branch Tesco, who sent me back to head office. He was doing my head in, and eventually I got through, and I was like, "We can do it." So I went to Rob and I said, "Look, we have permission." He said, "That's grand. I'll look after you." So he made sure that nobody bothered us, but he did pop his head in. If you like, there's bloopers of him just doing like making weird faces and stuff. But yeah, that was interesting. Will there be a Sing to Me too? Was there any setbacks to filming, trying to find a place to film, etc.? I think that was probably the biggest one.
Yeah, there was definitely setbacks. Yeah, well, didn't you filmed on a bus, didn't you? That was like
I did film on a bus, and that was weird.
How did that happen? Did you buy a bus ticket?
I got I was on the bus anyway. I was going from Wexford Tennis Court to go to my nanny's house, and on my way, I just shot the seat. Because I literally just get a shot of I'll get a shot of the aisle and I'll get a shot of the seat and then I'll throw it in so that way people get the idea he's on a bus.
Were people you had done that and I was like, okay.
Were people weirded out?
Oh yeah,
the bus driver.
Oh yeah.
Did you explain to them? Explain to them?
When I finished shooting it, because I was crouched down trying to get a creative.
The confidence, man. I would die.
Yeah.
What did you shoot it on?
In my head, I was like, "What would Nix do?" But I got through. That too inspired my cinematography. But as I was shooting that
did you shoot it on your phone or was it the camera?
I shot it on my phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not true. But I was imagining a whole camera like you.
Yeah, no, I don't know about the big camera. It's like we had the loads. One sec.
We had a whole movie shot on like 18 different devices.
Yeah, it's like everybody stay calm. You're on a bus.
We all done audio as well. We all had different audio devices recording just in case we lost a file. We have we have this backup.
Audio. The audio was a pain.
We had the phones recording, the microphone.
Yeah. We had that one
to protect from the wind.
Yeah, there was that one scene where it got cut out, the SE scene from when Jordan. We had to have a hat.
Yes, it was in my phone.
Yeah, we had a mic in your shirt. We had a mic in a hat to protect it from the wind. We had the big mic with the sock around it to protect it from the wind, and we still end up losing that.
Yeah.
After we finally got good audio.
I still haven't bought Nick's a new SD card. I need to get him a new SD card.
It was probably best when that scene was gone though, because you could probably see the Samsung phone just sticking out.
Yeah.
Is that why there was no scene by the bridge?
Yeah.
It was the one, yeah.
Because I lost the footage. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the scene with the SD card.
I really wanted that scene. That's why I called for an emergency reshoot a week before the film released.
It looked so good.
It's unfortunate though.
When we were looking at it on the camera, we were like, "Yeah, this looks amazing."
Yeah.
We had all the audio sorted out. The wind calmed down. Everything was perfect, and then we lose the SD card. So we're like, "Oh,
yeah."
It happened. It happened for a reason.
Yeah, but it was a gorgeous location, I just thought I really enjoyed that. But my dad even said it to me when I got in the car. I was panicking, and he was like, "Look, he's like, you're after calling an emergency reshoot a week or two before you're launching the film. It's not meant to be." He was like, "Just edit the film."
He's right, but I remember I had the beard coming on, so that would have been really unrealistic.
That's right. I remember thinking that, and I was like, and my hair was growing had started to grow back. I think no, my hair had been cut at that point because we had
Yeah.
shot the future scenes.
So your hair was too short for the film, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the actors could pick one director to work with other than Luke, who would it be?
A famous director, or like
any director. It doesn't specify.
Or like another person from the movie to direct it.
Well, no, it's just like, so if you're going to go with somebody who's local, I'd say like Faris or Maureen Carty, who have directed short films in the town, or you could pick a famous director, or Eamon Colfer, or someone like that. I've worked with Eamon, so I know what that's like. I would pick Eamon. Eamon's very good fun.
I don't know. If I had someone to pick from the movie, like an actor in the movie to direct it, I would pick, like, other than Luke, I would pick either Nix, or because Nix isn't really an actor, he's more of a
co-director.
BTS. Yeah, he's a co-director, and then next would be Jordan, because he was so like he was so he's so creative. He got to interpret everything.
Yeah, like Jordan does this documentation thing. He documents a lot of things and is making a story out of it. It's genius. It's fucking brilliant. I won't say anything more because I don't know what you want said or not said, but it is genius. And he has a whole vision of a story, and he's been you were telling me this story for 2 or 3 years, and I'm like, this is brilliant. So that's I would pick Jordan or Eamon.
Thank you. No, I think because Wexford is known for its arts, there's so many brilliant directors.
Yes.
And theater directors too. You can't choose one. It's impossible to choose one because everyone, deserves to get a shot at it. And at the same time, everyone has their own ways of directing. So I don't have like a favorite way of it because I've only been in Sing to Me. But I'd like to kind of get an idea of all these different types of directings, and then I'll kind of probably be able to answer that question down the line.
I don't know if I've dropped you the hint on this yet, but you actually, hopefully, all going well, like if you're involved in what I'm going to tell you about after this live stream, you will have a chance to work with another director. You'll actually have a chance to work with 4 of the directors.
This news to me. All this is Jesus.
I'm working. Yeah, look, I'm working. I actually might as well say this. I'm working on a web series, and I don't want to direct the whole thing. It's 6 to 10 episodes long, and it's live action. It's not dance. It's a different thing. And I don't know when I'm going to shoot this, but when we do shoot it, it's going to be multiple directors, a lot of talents, a lot of people are going to jump in on this. So
What's the story?
That I cannot disclose.
Okay.
When was it filmed? It was filmed between November, December of 2018 up till April.
August.
Yeah, when it came out.
Well, no, actual April of 2019, and then we did 2 days of reshoots, but they don't actually count as shooting,
but still.
But yeah, and then we released. So it's between 2018 and 2019. Where did the cast eat lunch? We ate lunch we ate on the big square thing outside Tesco. We ate it on the steps of Tesco.
Oh yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Lived off €2 Pringles.
Oh, yeah.
That one time Tesco had them for €2.
Yes, and the donuts that were like, you got a pack of 6 donuts for €1. Yeah. Oh, the days.
And then me buying 27 cans of Coke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wasn't that like a was like?
And then we ended up. That was the day we ended up moving everywhere. Yeah. So I was carrying around 20 cans of Coke, just on my shoulder, just walking around with 20 cans of Coke.
Yeah.
And going from the music stand, the bandstand, back to Tesco. It was so crazy.
I can't wait to start for Fatherland.
Oh yeah, you're gonna. It's mental. It's mental. It's
everything is crack about it though. It's even the small things. What we had for lunch seems like such we had sandwiches, but it's not that. It's we got 24 cans of Coke and we brought them across town. Yeah.
There's a photograph. I have a photograph of it's a landscape photograph, and it's got Nix has his body turned. He's facing you, but he's got his body turned, looking at me, and he's got his camera in his hand. He's wearing an army looking top thing. And I'm standing behind the camera, so you can see the head of the big camera. And you've got Josh with headphones on and with his phone, and then you've got Sean is sitting down, and then Ari and Hannah were sitting up on this thing, and Jordan, you were sitting down beside, and everybody was just spread out and just chatting, and we were on a break, and it was. When I look at that photo, that particular photo for me encaptures the whole experience. Because when I was looking, or the photograph of us outside the art center after we'd finished shooting, because I'm looking at this and it's all these people that are involved, and it's not just in front of the camera. The people you see in front of the camera are only half. You know, we had so many people. We had like 17 or 18 people working on this film, and it was just such a. We really just built a team, you know, a really great team. So it was pretty cool. And the next question is actually, do you miss working on Sing to Me? Yes.
Very much. Totally. Very much. Totally.
Yeah. I remember like even the smallest things, like the conversations that me and Jordan had, like talking about, because it was at the time we were at Tesco and the cathedral just burned down
That's right.
And we were like, what would it look like if the churches in Wexford just set aflame? Like, what would happen? We were saying like we were saying like we had like this vision where one of the churches were on fire, and how long would it take for the ambulance and everything to come down? And I thought even those conversations were memorable, you know.
Didn't that give you an idea for a film? It was the apocalyptic film you were going to do. Like, wasn't that an idea? It kind of came off conversation like that, didn't it?
Yeah. So I wrote I have a script in the box, but I need to figure out a way to do prosthetics. But it is essentially about a post-apocalyptic world, but it's quite character centric, so it shouldn't be too hard to do the prosthetics. But again, it was still too difficult. The next question that I have is, what went wrong with Hunting at Midnight? Well, actually, the question that comes before that is a very inappropriate one. I'm not going to answer that. It's what went wrong with Hunting at Midnight. Hunting at Midnight was hit with COVID-19 basically. I was already a little bit worried about locations because we have a wide array of locations and it's 2 movies. So Hunting at Midnight is 2 films split into one, and we were going to shoot them back to back. We are going to make them. It's just when coronavirus hit, I was already worried about my locations because I was like, I was at risk of not being able to use them. And when coronavirus hit, then I just knew we're barely going to have enough time to shoot Fatherland this year, let alone 2 movies.
2 films.
Yeah.
So. And like they're getting cast for it as well because it's such a big story.
It's a big product, project.
Oh, so many pages.
Yeah, it was 190 pages or something like that. It was ridiculous.
This was going to be a full film. It wasn't going to be a feature. It wasn't like, it was a full length film.
And it wasn't going to be. It wasn't just going to be 1. It was going to be 2 of them. You know.
Yeah, we were prepared to film it as well.
Oh yeah.
Like we were prepared. We were ready, and then we were like, okay, locations might not be the right now.
Yeah.
And then there was everything that happened with COVID. Yeah, because I don't know if YouTube is allowed to say that. So
yeah, kind of. Me and Joshua had a pitch session, so I always call this like a pitch session rather than a pitch meeting, because Eamon Colfer, who provided the equipment for Sing to Me and helped me with the script, who's incredible. I was in his film No Hell. You should please check that out. It's on Hook Movies. It's amazing. Anyway, me and Eamon would sit down for these pitch sessions where we sit down, have a cup of coffee, we catch up, and then we just start throwing out ideas. And we sat down for that. I was showing him the script for Hunting at Midnight, and the concerns for coronavirus were already starting to hit. And Eamon had reserves about the story anyway, because the story was very different to Sing to Me, extremely.
Yeah,
like in that it wasn't my Sing to Me was pulled from a part of my life. This had nothing to do with me. It was set in England. It was a totally different ballgame. So Eamon and me and Josh were sitting in Santos, and we just started pitching out these ideas. I told him an idea for another film that I had called Fatherland as a backup. And I started telling him what I had for it, and then he started pitching ideas, and Josh pitched ideas, and I did, and eventually we birthed what Fatherland is now. And so when coronavirus really hit, I decided to pull back.
I just have a question. Like, as kind of creative director, then how would you kind of manage such a script so big? Like,
Fatherland or Hunting?
Both.
So what I did for Fatherland, Luke sends me the scripts kind of when he's still writing them, just to kind of get ideas and, does this make sense? Like, what's your opinion? And I started reading the script. I just told him, like, I need to be part of this. I need to do something, because I was like falling in love with these characters straight away.
Yeah.
So what I do, and I have my notes somewhere, is I made like a mind map for each character, and I'd go through the script and I'd be reading like, about your character. And it's like, what, I'm really feeling like, the leather jacket kind of thing for this character. And, for this one, I don't care. I need this sort of thing. Because for me, I can see them like fleshed out in person. And then once I knew who was playing them, it made it a lot easier as well. Because then you kind of get an idea as well. But had like 20 million ideas. So I had to put it down on paper and just go. And then I was annoying Luke by ringing him, asking him, Luke, right, okay, just go with me here.
Yeah, we'd have, like she'd ring me and I'd basically tell her, like, we have this funny scene in Fatherland with a character called Karen, and she comes, basically she's like this 40-year-old woman, and she comes into
that made me the
yeah. That's where it's happened. So she comes into Tom, who's the main character for Fatherland, and she comes into him and she starts basically talking very inappropriately. Tom is 21 and she's like 45, and she's like basically trying to get off with him, and it's a real Karen thing. And she talks about going into the manager and trying to get the manager, and it didn't work, you know. And she's gonna have the haircut and everything. And I said it to Abby, and Abby was just like, I can see her, I have her, I know what she looks like.
But like, that's such hard work, though. Like, it's important. Like, it's behind the scenes, but the hardest work goes behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
like creating mind maps for characters. You know, that's what people don't see, but that's what they should know.
And this is it just takes so long, you know. Like the way what I see with a script is, when I write a script, I experience the story the same way an audience does when they watch it for the first time. So as I'm writing it, it's like I'm watching it in my head. So I have like soundtracks on my phone from different movies that I pull, and I put these soundtracks into a playlist and build my movie out of music. And I listen to these things, and usually I'll start with one scene and then I'll write that scene. And when I write that scene, I'll build the soundtrack, and I'll build the soundtrack as I write, and I'm experiencing this thing. And of course, I'll write my own soundtrack when it comes to it, but I use it all to build this story. But while you're going, you need to have some sort of fleshed out character stories, a character arc. You need to have development. And when you're doing that, you do have to sit down and go, okay, so who is this character? Who is Sebastian? Who is Tom? Who is Michelle? Who is John? And that, if there's not enough in your script, I say, well, make it up yourself then. So that's where, you know, like I would have said it to you on the day when we were shooting for the first time. It was like, right, this is who you're playing, this is what you have in the script. But if you guys want to create some sort of story in your head, like I said it to Jordan, do you want to create a story as to how we met, you know, whatever it was, and do it that way. So there's so much work goes in behind the scenes, not just on days of shooting, even just down to making the story. It's immense.
And definitely everyone's work behind the scenes should be kind of commemorated. Totally.
Absolutely, absolutely. Was there any issues with actors not being available on the day, or on the day mess ups? Yes.
Totally.
Yeah, we had those.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it was complicated as well, because I did pay people, but I didn't think I was going to be paying people initially. So when we did this originally, it was a not-for-profit film. It was a group of people coming together. People were doing me a favor. You know, I was a director who needed actors, and they came and helped me out, and they acted in my movie. While we built a team and everybody became invested in it and they gave it their all, they didn't have to. So while it did, I had to try and remember that. But it can be very frustrating, especially when you're coming to the end and like actors can't make it and stuff. It was always resolved, and we always found a way around it, and there was never arguments per se. But there were just mistakes, to times that actors couldn't make it, or times that actors had to leave sooner than I thought, or whatever it was. But yeah, there definitely were. I don't know, did you guys observe anything else on that other than me losing?
Because shooting always takes like longer than you expect. Like, you never know. Like, you could be planning to be there for 4 hours, but you end up being there for like 6.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah,
that's what you said earlier about like 5-6 o'clock. You know, we'll expect to be there for an hour, and through mistakes, you know, some people might be late, and you know, we got to make room for mistakes, but it takes a while. You know,
I said it on a different live stream that I did myself, that we would usually aim for 3 scenes a day. And when I said that, they were like, 3 scenes a day. They're like, how long is your shooting? And I'm like, well, I'm doing it for from about 12 till 6. And they're like, Jesus, like, would you not get a lot more done than that? And you'd be surprised.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. You know,
3 scenes is a lot.
And those scenes might only account to 5 or 10 minutes of a scene. You know, it might, like, you know, the scene where me and Aisling dance, I dropped her so many times.
We have to take into consideration as well that we only had one camera. So if we wanted to get multiple angles, that meant filming the scene more than about 3 or 4 times.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so we were technically, if we were doing 3 scenes a day, do the math. You know, that one scene could be done around 6 or 7 times, depending.
Yeah.
You know, and the sound quality might be hard. So it wasn't like, you know, if we had multiple cameras, we'd have them showing multiple angles. But with the one, you know, went multiple takes.
And we filled our tapes as well. And once those got full, we had to like work our way around that. Luke's get very.
I had a like I freaked out. I remember that day. We were at the end of shooting, and it was our third last shoot. It was the first day of our last 3 shoots, and I went in with the camera and I set it all up. It was grand, and we had already filled 1 tape, but it was grand. We had 2. And the main camera that we used was a VCR camera, which is why you can see, if you have it on a big screen, you can see the film grains. When it's on a smaller screen, it's not too bad, but on a bigger screen, you can see. The camera was great though. Anyway, we used it. Had the VCR filled on one, got halfway through the next one, thinking I'm going right, we're grand, and we went into this day for shooting, and we shot I'd say maybe 4 takes of a scene, and we got the scene done. And we started on the next scene, we did a take or 2, and then it told me that we had run out, and I bricked it because I was like, how we still had XYZ amount to film, so we had to go back on the tapes. We had to rewind the tapes 1980s style, and we had to find our test shoots, and we had to shoot over our test shoots because we knew we weren't going to use them. And that's how we resolved that. Before we move on, I'm just going to let you guys know that we're moving on to our last set of questions that were sent into us by you guys. So if you guys have any questions, you can start dropping them into the comments. We'll answer those. We'll have a little bit of a chat, and then we'll start finishing up. So
I have a question for you, Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can either drop them on my stream on Twitch or on Luke's stream. We'll answer any of them that come through.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could do something differently in terms of like filming or directing for the next one, what would you do?
For the sequel, for Sing to Me or for Fatherland?
Either or, whichever comes first, really.
Given that Fatherland is next, we'll go with that. I would say I would do it. I kind of answered this question in a way, actually, in an earlier question. I think the way I would go about it is what was that? Oh. I think the way that I would go about it is I prepared the scenes for Fatherland, and I split them into like categories, right? To say we have XYZ amount of scenes, and we have them in XYZ amount of locations, and that allows me to see exactly how many scenes I need to shoot in exactly how many locations. I can't find the page. Here we are.
Jesus,
so,
man.
This is exactly how many. You can't see because it's backwards, but we have we have 11 scenes in the main apartment. We have 4 scenes in Jason's house, which is your character's house, Jordan. In the factory, which is where he works, we have 7 scenes. We have 7 scenes in another place. You know, it tells me how many scenes we have, what scenes they are, and that'll allow me to get it done a lot quicker. The reason I did this for
do we have locations ready for Fatherland? Do we have like where the factory is going to be set and stuff?
I have where the factory is going to be set. I still need to discuss it with them properly. I know where I want it to be.
Okay.
I can't disclose.
Avoid another Tesco.
Yeah, we'll do it in Tesco. But yeah, so that's what I think I would do differently. It's what I'm already doing is I would be more organized as a director. I would have everything a lot more set because I had never done it before, so I didn't know what I was doing per se. When I went into it, it was I'm going to shoot a movie. Here's how we're going to do it. And
it's for all the cast, though. You know, we all I think.
Yeah.
Again.
But now that we have more experience, I know how to assign roles properly, you know. So it's like I know how a chain of command will work. It'll be Nick's being my co-director, he'll answer to me, and Josh will answer to him being a producer. So you know, we're going to manage our roles properly. The actors will have this thing. We have a bigger team. We have more locations. I have it laid out exactly how it's going to go. So I think that would be how I would approach it differently. Is there anything you would approach differently from Sing to Me when we go on to Fatherland? Is there anything you'll do different?
I think maybe having like the same equipment for the majority of the shoot, perhaps. You know, so we're not like mixing up with a whole bunch of devices that could make things really confusing. Really.
Yeah, which did get tough.
That goes again under being more organized.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, we have another. What inspired you to write, produce Sing to Me? So again, I did answer this earlier. It was pulled from my own life. So you can go back and look at that. Where are we going now with this? What did you use to film and what did you use to edit? So we used a Canon.
Do you have the camera?
Is somebody's mic coming through on this?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Oh no, it's okay. We have that's Nick's camera. There is a Canon. What camera is that?
Canon 1300D.
Canon 1300D. So we used that for a lot of the shoot. So it was kind of half and half. Half the shoot was done with Nick's, half of it was done with the one that I had. And I had an Canon XL 200 or 100 or whatever it was. It's a big movie camera, but it's VCR. So those were the main cameras we used to film. Connor Brennan shot some scenes as well with his camera. So that's how we bounced all of that. And that's one of the things that Nick was saying, that we would stick to one type of camera. So what did I use to edit? I used Filmora 4, and I used 2. I used a movie studio or something, and I had a cut of the film done and ready to go. And I figured out that they allowed you one free export. So I went to export a trailer. I released the first theatrical trailer was made with that. I went to export that trailer. That was grand. And then I went to export the film, the first cut of the film, and it told me that I needed to pay for it. So I tried to hack it. And when I tried to hack it, it crashed and shut me out. And when I logged back on, all of my videos were gone. The entire film was lost. And I had to start editing again using Filmora. What was your favorite
How long
thing?
Did it take you?
Sorry?
How long did it take you to edit?
The first cut of the film took me about a month. And the second cut of the film took me from about the end of May, start of June, until the weekend, the week before release, which was in August.
So you lost all your footage, a month's worth of footage in one day.
I didn't lose the footage. I lost
the edit.
The film. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I still had the footage though.
Yeah.
And think about you actually edited it pretty fast, considering that you were in school and you had other stuff to do as well.
Yeah, I kind of just film. I would edit. I would edit on weekends from 8 in the morning until 8 at night, and I just wouldn't stop. Like, it was mad. Yeah, Abby's having flashbacks.
Going to Luke many nights in the summer, and he'd just be there like, yeah, Grant, I can't talk, I'm editing.
Or there was phone calls where it's like, I can't do it.
And then there's like the down phone calls where it's like, I can't.
Yeah.
This thing, go here, and then the audio, Abby, the audio.
Yeah, I panicked. I remember I did a trailer with which opens with dialogue from Jordan's character Sean and Hannah's character Anna. And when I cut that together, Jordan said, or no, she says, so what's up with Sebastian? And Jordan says, it's complicated or something like that. And when I cut that together, I think we did 5 or 6 takes of that scene. And I fast forwarded ahead, I got to like the 3rd take, and the audio was shocking. It was awful audio. So I was like, crap, what am I going to do? So I put that audio into the trailer and tried to blend it and make it sound normal, but it doesn't sound great in the trailer. And then I found that our final shoot sounds grand. So I was like, all right, okay. Yeah. But I had missed that when I did the trailer. So I was like, good. So I was panicking when I was editing that scene. I was actually sitting there going, oh my God, this is going to sound so bad. And then I got it, it was fine. I was like, all right, okay, we're good.
There was some scenes that didn't have proper sound.
Yeah, the main one of that was the one with me and Aisling.
Right before you done the dance.
Yeah.
But that was a small scene anyway, so it was completely fine.
We have very, very minimal dialogue in that scene, but after the dance, the audio was really tight. And the interesting thing that a lot of people don't need to know about this is that the reason for that is the reason there's such bad audio, not such, like it's okay audio, it's just quite quiet. But the reason the audio was poorer before the dance and really tight and clear after the dance is because the conversation that we shot before the dance we shot on our very first day of shooting in November or December, but the audio that we shot after the dance we shot on our very last day of shooting. So we actually shot those scenes, which was one scene, we shot them months apart, which is I always find very interesting. People probably don't care, but should. Right, last question that we have on this is what was your favorite thing, what was each of your favorite things about bringing this movie from paper to the screen? Personally, for me, I got to see a story that I wrote and created. I got to see it up on a screen. I made a movie. I had never done that before. Well, we made a movie, but I mean, I had a story in my head and it became a film. That was my favorite thing about it. And the interdynamics, the team, mixing with the team, the friendships that we made, just working together was so much fun. What would be yours?
I think, like, again, as you said, like the interdynamics was brilliant, and it made the film.
Yeah.
Every day we looked forward to filming. Well, I did anyway, and I'm sure everyone else did too. It was good to get into a character, see how a film's done, go to all these locations. The whole process was fun. But what made it was the group of people that we did it with. And the memories we made, because of course the film's going to be a film forever, but the memories are also going to be memories together without getting too cheesy, But no, the whole experience was great. And again, going back to the question, do you miss it? Totally ties into that because you miss the banter. It's the one thing that you miss the most out of it. Mm-hmm. And as Abby said, can't wait to start filming Fatherland because those memories are going to be made again. We're all going to be together again with even more people.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally.
Nix, what would be your favorite parts about bringing it from paper to screen?
I think just the experience to have to make a film.
Yeah.
Like the whole process of doing it is just so fascinating to me as well, because even if I was co-director, all the work that went into it from all of us, it was just a collaborative effort, and I think it paid off. So
the art center was cool. The art center was really cool.
The launch was amazing. I never experienced something like that because we didn't do like a red carpet or anything. But I remember at the end of the night,
imagine.
Yeah, I've been asked to for Fatherland. People have asked me to. I was like, I'm not quite sure we're there yet. But,
get a blue carpet, man.
Blue carpet, yeah, or green one. Or we'll just get the art
custom carpet.
Yeah,
custom carpet saying Fatherland.
Yeah. Just put down plastic laminate flooring, like this is the magic walkway. No, we at the end of the night, the cast went down to the foyer or the hallway.
I landed on a car.
I think your mic, someone's mic is coming through there again.
Yeah, it's someone's. I think it's Josh.
Aaron in the background. We had some interesting things. So the cast went down to the foyer, to the hallway, to wait for me, basically. And also get collected by their parents and start to go home. But I stood at the edge where the art center was laid out, that you had the seats were all laid out like this, and the stage was here, and that's where we screened it, and then the walkways at the side of the stage. So I stood at the edge of the staircase for the seats, and everybody started coming down. Everybody shake my hand and hugged me and congratulated me, and loads of people talked about a sequel and stuff like that, and some people tried to stop and have a conversation. But it was interesting because it is what you see when you look at the premiere of movies, like these people there greeting people and they're talking about it. And I was like, that feeling of, for one, we got a standing ovation, so getting that was incredible. We sold out. Those little things about that experience of the launch was out of this world. It was insane.
It was great to see everyone come together. It felt so accomplishing.
And it was really cool to have all of the cast out of their look. They were dressed up in themselves. They weren't dressed up to sing to me. They were dressed up.
Josh had a suit on.
Yeah, Josh had a suit on.
Let's not talk about that, okay? Okay.
And Nix did a very great mobile phone impression. Nix did the best mobile phone impression I've ever seen. It was. Do you remember that? You were like, "What's that? Somebody's ringing me."
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah.
I gotta go. Put your phone away.
That was really good.
Yeah.
From the audience, obviously, and it was really impressive seeing all the cast lined up in the semicircle on stage and seeing my best friend in the middle of it. I was like, oh my god, this is an actual movie. And I read the script, I was there for the editing. Seeing Luke's frustration and tears and anger and love.
It was a project. I was a nice person. I'm not.
We seen it the first day. Remember the first day when we met up? Rachel, Abby, Eamon, me, and you. We were all there. A lot of us were all there.
Yeah.
We seen your frustration then. That was the first time we seen it, and it was also the first time we met up.
Oh my god, that was around this time 2 years ago.
Even before, it was
early summer. We hadn't hit summertime yet, but it was coming into summer, and I remember that. Yeah, and those you and
it
Hannah,
was Rachel, Eamon, and us.
Yeah,
and Hannah came then.
Over. Yeah. And because we had a different cast, we had a totally different cast initially when we went to shoot. So you guys were the only two actors to carry over into what ultimately became.
Yeah. And that's crazy.
We even changed cast members halfway through. We initially had a girl called Hannah Kirby and Josh playing Michelle and John, and then we switched to Ari and Lee, which was interesting. I actually did have another question that I missed. I have two. One is, and that reminds me, is were any of the relationships in Sing to Me real? And that is actually interesting because while me and Aisling certainly were not an item, and Jordan and that sounds awful. It's not because I don't like her. She's lovely. It's for if you know who I am, you know why. And Jordan and Hannah were not together either, but Ari and Lee were. They're not anymore, but they were at the time. They were an item, so I made them kiss a lot for no reason. And there's actually bloopers of me going, "Do it again, do it again, do it again." And the last one is, how would Luke describe his directing style, and how would the rest of the cast describe it? We actually kind of already answered that in another question. You guys said what you thought. I said what I thought. So yeah. Do we have any questions, Josh, on your Twitch?
No, I did have a question, but it was just basically inappropriate. I couldn't really answer it, you know.
Right. Okay.
So
I have. Can you please say happy to Nick Gurr? I don't know who Nick Gurr is.
No. You fell for it. You fell for it.
What is that?
I
don't know what that is.
You don't need to say it. Yeah.
That has to be cut out.
That's alive.
That's awful. I apologize. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Was Mr. Murphy
just when my
no,
he's a security guy from Tesco.
Yeah. That's from Grace Flanagan, I'm assuming. Yes, that is. Yeah, he was the security guy from Tesco. So he made sure that nobody disturbed us while we were filming. Made strange faces.
He ran away.
Yeah.
A lot of people would look at us strangely though, for sure, because seeing a film in Tesco was like, what?
I took note of that. We were shooting one day. I remember and there were like a lot of people walking past, just like peering and going, "What are they doing?"
Yeah, that was like a whole thing. It took a while to get used to.
The glass, the kids are just staring at us the whole time.
There was also that one time where it was like one of the last shoots where it was the scene when we were all walking into the art center and the news were across the street and we were comparing equipment.
Yes.
We were like, yeah, we got a professional camera, we got a sock on our boom. Don't worry about it.
We should. There's a scene
professional compared to like us. Yeah,
we across the street.
Oh, it's totally different. Totally. We had a sock on it. There's a scene that we shot. Nick's had actually gone home at this point, so I think Josh shot this or Ryan did. But it's me and Jordan, and it's very early in the film. We're walking past CBS. The school in Wexford, and as we were walking past,
I remember
this person in a van drove past us and screamed a very inappropriate thing. But we had done loads of takes of that scene, like.
Oh yeah,
we had cameramen slipping on curbs. We were walking backwards. We were walking backwards, and we had to like help them. I wasn't the cameraman. It was
Ryan.
It was Brian, and I was kind of like guiding him as you were walking back.
That's
because
right.
he slipped off the car for one, and we're like, okay, we need to get this right this time. Then the van drives past. We're like, okay, we have one good shoot at least. Come on.
And Luke was nearly losing his mind. Or either before or after. It was on the same day, but it was either just before we did that scene or the scene after we did. Me and Jordan were in the bull ring. Not the bull ring. We were out by the bandstand. And
I think that was my favorite scene.
That was so funny. we had done so many takes on that scene, and we got the perfect take. We had gotten right to the end of the scene, and it was perfect. We were right about to wrap up the scene. All I had to do was walk away, and the car pulls up and starts playing the "I Got the Horses in the Back," and I was like, I'm gonna freak out. I can't.
Oh, it's funny though. It's funny. The bloopers, man. Oh.
Yeah, they were.
Do we still have those clips or no?
Yeah, there's a gag reel up on the. It's either on my personal channel or.
Is that in that?
It is. Yeah. It closes it. It's the last thing you see.
Oh yeah.
Best to last.
What are all of your favorite films? Sing to me, obviously.
Oh, that's such a hard question.
Yeah,
that's really hard. Jeez.
Especially for people that like love all different types of movies. We're all like movie fanatics, so
it changes every week.
Yeah, Jordan said.
Yeah.
Have you seen Parasite this year?
Sorry?
Parasite.
No.
Oh no! It won at won the award, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just there in about 2 months ago.
It was actually really good. It was great.
Yeah.
Actually, I watched a film last night or the night before called Contagion, and it was made in 2011.
Saying it, Matt Damon.
It's freaky. He's
trapped in Dublin.
I know, yeah. But it's
how
fitting. It's weird that Contagion, what happens in Contagion, literally from the start of it, is basically what is happening now.
Yeah.
It's like there's social distancing. All of it is so weird.
Only like Matt, it's here instead because Matt Damon's here. So.
Yeah, he brought here. It's his fault. We blame him.
Did you guys see the conspiracy theories with the coronavirus? Like saying that in America there was everyone was getting sick around December in America, and apparently, like America is trying to cover it up, saying like when we first found it out, that was like the first day it got released. You know,
but you gotta be careful of all this fake news though, because. Like it's called an infodemic. It's called an infodemic as well, where a lot of kind of conspiracy things are going around and stuff, and a lot of people will believe wrong things, you know. And so you just gotta kind of be careful of that.
It's bound to happen in a crisis. Like this. People are just going to say. I think the way that my parents are putting it, and the way that I'm seeing it as well, is that like when you think of everything that's going on, it's already bad. It's already awful and really bad. So there's no need to attach a conspiracy theory to that. It's already crap.
Yeah.
You know.
That's happened so far with it all. It's the fact that the Pentagon released like footage of UFOs, and people are like, yeah, whatever.
They probably did that to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is telling you to ingest Dettol.
There's like 3 aliens that just like happened about 4 years ago. 5 years ago. And they're like, no, I don't want that Rona.
Yeah.
Just fly out.
Yeah, so I think that wraps up questions as far as I can see. So look, thank you guys, everybody who did watch. I hope that answers most of your questions. If you do have any other questions, you know, you can send them in and I'll answer them. But the main reason that we held this was just so you guys can see us together, and you guys we can tell you on behalf of us that we're around. And it gives us something to do, because we can't sit here and go, it's going to be okay. You know? So I figured.
Hope you enjoy watching though.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy watching. Now, since this is a Sing to Me stream, you guys can find Sing to Me on this channel, so it is connected to this channel.
I have linked it.
You've linked it? Perfect.
I've linked it in the comments, and on my stream, it's in the comments on my stream too. So
perfect. So you guys can click into that and you can give it a watch. It's an hour long, and hopefully from this video you can see just how long and how much work we put into it. And you can look forward to Fatherland, which is coronavirus depending coming, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure it comes in 2021. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to knock off this and then I'll say goodbye to the cast myself. So thank you guys again.
Bye. Thank you.